Hello and welcome to The Scramble. I'm your host, Adrienne Lefebvre. Today's show is all about the Supreme Court. And here to share their supreme opinions are Brittney Arrington. She's a senior studying broadcast journalism and looking forward to graduation in December. Robert Roselle III, a senior at UNLV, double majoring in African American Studies and journalism with plans to attend Yale University next year. Jenelle Vannoy is the co-host of KUNV's Morning Rebellion and is pursuing a second bachelor's degree in film. And Rachel Stevens is a CSUN senator and a health sciences major. Thank you all so much for joining me today. We are going to jump right into some big topics. The Supreme Court has struck down parts of Arizona's controversial immigration law. However, the most controversial aspect of the law, the ability of police officers to check the immigration status of those they have, quote, reasonable suspicions, unquote, about, still stands for now. Rachel, this one comes to you. Did the Supreme Court make the right decision with this? Did they go too far, not far enough? What do you think?
Well, in Arizona's constitution, it's enumerated in their powers that they can check for identification, provable, like you have to be able to prove that you are a citizen of the United States. So constitutional wise, I mean, they are within their rights, but regardless, I still just feel uncomfortable with the fact that, you know, the cops can pull you over and check on your immigration status or what country you're from. I mean, I know sometimes I don't carry any ID, so like how would they check? But at the same time, it's what is considered reasonable suspicions, and some people are saying, oh, well, you do have to commit a crime first for them to even pull you over or find you. So I'm just very uncomfortable with the whole situation. But from what I've read, they're well within their rights to do what they've done.
So by the state's constitution,
right,
absolutely, they
right.
have the right to do this. Jenelle, what about you? What do you think about the ruling?
I think it's going too far. And this has been a controversial subject for a long time, even with Texas and the borders. I can understand where the Arizona governor, what she's trying to do. But to me, honestly, it seems like an underlying undersliding targeting Latinos. Because that's mainly what they kind of go for, especially with the immigration. I understand that we have different ethnicities that immigrate here from China, from India, or whatever. But most of the times when you read the news, anything dealing with Arizona, they specifically talk about the Latinos in this. And she keeps saying she's trying to do this for America, and she wants to keep Arizona like this and like that. But you can't generalize America with what you're trying to do. And I just think
Arizona is different in that they are. Right,
yeah, they seem like they're
a different situation.
Yeah, they seem like they're their own entity. Like they live all by themselves and nobody else is affected by this.
So you think that the Supreme Court should have struck down that part, that controversial part, that let Arizona still stop people for reasonable suspicion?
Not struck it down, but maybe appended a little bit, kind of like did some changes, switch it around a little bit so that it is within reason. You know, because I know it's probably not possible, but I just feel like it makes me uncomfortable, just like Rachel said, it makes me uncomfortable that something like this is going on because they can target anybody.
Robert, you're...
Right. No, I think it's great. You
think what's great?
Well, that the way that those two have put it, I think is exactly the way that I feel about it. It's hard, and it has to be hard for states like California, New Mexico, and Arizona and Texas, those states that are right there on the border where you have drug running and you have all of these just various crimes that are going back and forth with border towns, on each side of the border. It has to be frustrating to know it's just like, okay, what can we do within our Constitution that, to prevent things like this, to prevent illegal immigrants from being in here, committing crimes and doing things like that. Granted, if you're trying to become a citizen and you're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, that's a different thing. But those that are committing illegal crimes or committing crimes, any crimes are illegal, those things, it's hard to do it. But like I said, the thing that I fear the most is if I'm driving, if somebody who looks like myself is driving through Arizona and for whatever reason, I can't, I don't know what happened to my wallet and I get pulled over.
You lose your identification.
Yeah, I lose for whatever reason. What happens to me? What is that? So it scares me. Like that kind of thing scares me because what constitutes reasonable suspicion? What is that I have to do for you to go, I suspect you may be here illegally? What is it? And so that's
So
the
it's
thing they have to
very
go back.
open-ended.
Yeah, it's very open-ended.
Brittney, how about you? Are you on the same page?
Well, here's my problem with it. There's 3 parts of the law that they struck down: authorizing legal immigrants without, arresting them without probable cause, making it in that state a crime for unauthorized immigrants to fail to carry registration papers, and forbidding those not authorized for employment in the United States to apply. So, as a citizen, it's illegal for me to drive down the street without my ID. I get in trouble, I get a fine. So why would you take that part out? That makes sense to me. And it makes sense that if you're a prostitute, you're not paying taxes, so that's why you get in trouble, that's why it's a crime. So if you're not registered, I'm making a correlation here to these laws like that we already have for citizens. That's a law for a normal citizen. If you aren't paying taxes, if you aren't, providing the correct identification and following the rules, you get in trouble. So why did they take that part out and leave the part that allows for racial profiling, allows for, police to harass people that think that they, are someone who's doing something.
Suspicious.
Yeah, it's the part that they left in that's
So you're not really sure
what's
what
going
the Supreme
on.
Court was thinking.
Why they're taking out the most crucial part and leaving in the part that's like, making it harder for people to drive and, like he said, be scared. I mean, if you look at me, do you know what I am? It's up for grabs on what my nationality is. I'm gonna get it pulled over every single time, most likely. I mean,
forget the
people don't
driver's
know.
license.
Yeah, I have to make sure it's around my neck.
Well, what about, and kind of going off the same thing, I mean, I think that the federal government wants to make sure that they are the ones in control of immigration policy. They have foreign relations to be dealing with here, but certainly those states, like Robert, you mentioned, California, Arizona, Texas, they're in a different situation than, say, Rhode Island or
right. No,
so
exactly.
what-
That's the worst part when you're looking at a state like Arizona who wants to take control of what's going on, because you have these people coming in and doing these heinous acts and committing all these crimes, and it's just like, okay, well, you know what, federal government, like, you're not really helping me out right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're allowing them to come in here. You're not really securing that bottom half of the border. And they're able to drug run and do all different kinds of things. Yet, when I try to do something, you're not going to let me do it. But like I said, at the same time, I don't know how exactly you do it without having this
Racial
aspect
profiling.
of racial profiling. I don't know how you do it without that, because let's be honest. If I'm driving and she's driving, they're going to be more apt to pull me over and check my papers than they are going to be for her. Let's be honest. That's just the way it is.
And then if you two were even together,
Well-
they'll be even more suspicious to pull you
Right.
over. So, I mean, it's just totally different aspects to it. And when you really think about it, for an outsider that's looking in and they're paying attention, following these news, and they don't understand all the laws, they will automatically think, okay, Arizona's going for racial profiling here. They really are going to go through with this, especially seeing how far we've come, even though we're still behind. Now it seems like we're backsliding a little bit. So now they're going into the civil rights thing, and it seems like it's going to go right back into another cycle of history.
Do you think it'll deter illegal immigration at all? Is that
I mean, it probably will a little
I
bit.
mean, when it comes to illegal immigration, more people are leaving America than
Right-
are actually coming
right now.
in. Right now. More people are going like, I'm going back to Mexico because I need to find a better life. So more people are leaving this country than are actually coming in. I think it's the first time in I don't know how long. But, I mean, criminals are going to continue to do criminal acts. They're not going to let this stop them from doing criminal acts. All this does is hurt those people who are actually trying to get in here and make a difference and become a citizen and do those things. That's all. That's the way it looks to me.
so? You think that people that are here legally will be kind of like what you said, in fear of getting pulled over while they're just running to the grocery store? That
Right.
they may not actually wait for them to commit some kind of a crime before they.
Well, that's exactly the problem is who is going to ensure, who are they going to elect to ensure to follow the police around and say, oh, that's not racial profiling, that's not, you're doing too
Wow.
much,
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a tough one to call. We'll see what happens with this one. We're going to have to take a short break. When we come back, we will be talking all about health care reform and the Supreme Court. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Just like the Air Force Thunderbird pilot I flew with, I have to make split-second decisions as a top fuel driver. Hi, I'm Brandon Bernstein, driver for Kenny Bernstein's 2010 Copart Lucas Oil Top Fuel Dragster. To make it in the NHRA, I've had to work hard, stay focused, and make smart decisions along the way. To reach your goals, you need to think straight, stay on track, and give your very best effort in everything you do. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Over half the people waiting for an organ transplant in the United States will die before they get one. You can increase your chances of getting a life-saving organ donation by joining Life Sharers. You get preferred access to the organs of other members. In return, you give fellow members first access to your organs. Membership is free and anyone can join. Join Life Sharers now. It's free and it could save your life.
Welcome back from the break. Moving on from immigration to health care. In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court has ruled that the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is constitutional based on the power of Congress to impose taxes. Rachel, this question is going to come to you.
Again.
Wait, I'm sorry, Janelle. Let's do you on this one.
I was interested in hearing what Rachel had to say first.
What kind of impact do you think this decision has on the ongoing healthcare debate?
It's hard to say because in the beginning, I understood what Obama was doing, and I am in support of him, and I get it. We all need health care. It doesn't matter if you're healthy. You know, we need it. It's a part of life. But as I was reading into it and understanding it, it was like, you really going to force people to buy health care? What about those that are unemployed? What about students that are just getting out of school and they have low-income jobs? You know, these type of things, it makes me think twice about it. You're going to make them pay a penalty for it? And I just don't, I'm so torn because I love the man, but it is like, no.
So you don't buy the Supreme Court's saying, you know, this is constitutional because the penalty, if you call it a tax, is actually constitutional.
Yeah.
But forcing someone to buy something is technically unconstitutional.
Yeah, that's so why I'm torn.
You feel like the court does in their split decision.
In the split decision, yeah, I feel torn, very, very torn about it. Because when I first read it on Twitter this morning, I was excited. Yes, because I'm up on Twitter, you know. You have to stay abreast on these things. And when I was reading about it, I was excited, like, yes, a victory for us, you know, for everybody. But then as I actually read into it and try to understand it more, it kind of just put me down a little bit because it's confusing to think, like, is this what he really wants?
Or it's difficult to understand.
Yeah, or these are the changes that came along with it in order to equal it out or come to an agreement, so to speak, so that it would pass. You know, because they wanted to take out the preventative care for women so they wouldn't double the rates on the student loans. But now it's in there, and they have this extension. So it's like you had to barter.
Right, everything is a
barter system.
So certainly
yeah.
we all agree that healthcare reform is something that needs to happen. Everyone wants better medical treatment. But Rachel, what do you think about how is this going to trickle down? What do you think this means?
First of all, I think that the Supreme Court is wrong. Justice Roberts is wrong for a supposedly conservative justice, siding with the liberal, you know, sect of the Supreme Court. It's pretty telling. You know, the Supreme Court has said separate but equal was constitutional at one time, and they were wrong. And they're definitely wrong on this. I did not have health care for 2 years. And I know how it is, but at the same time, it's not the government's job to be in my wallet. We don't want them in the bedroom. People don't want them on their body. They don't want to say, you can't tell me who to love, but somehow you are able to say, like, yes, please come into my home and tell me what to do with my body by forcing me to buy health care. That's wrong. What next are they going to force us to buy? Matching outfits? Like, what is this? Fidel Castro's Cuba? So
I get where you're coming from on it, and I see that part, but I also understand the initiative that he's trying to take that makes sure that everybody is on this path of staying healthy and being able to take care of themselves.
So the government holds a gun to your head and says you will be healthy? What kind of free country does that?
I don't think they would hold a gun to your head. But I think that's going too far with it. I think it's a matter of they really should not have the right to tell us what we have to buy or what we cannot buy, otherwise we have to do this. But at the same time, are you really going to sit here and say to yourself, oh, I don't need healthcare insurance because it's too expensive? I've gone out without healthcare since I graduated college. That was almost 5 years ago. I haven't had healthcare since then. And you don't know what's going on with your body. You see what I'm saying? And then something can happen. And right now, they have it so that they have to accept the pre-existing conditions. They're trying to fit that in there and whatnot. So you have to have healthcare. Would you sit there and think once you got it and you're trying to get insurance and they tell you, oh, we can't take you because you already had a pre-existing condition such as cancer or some other type of terminal illness happening to you? You know, that's...
I think this one's gonna go on for a little bit longer. Robert and Brittney, you're not even weighing in yet. So this is definitely something that we all understand. It impacts all of us. So of course, we're gonna have a lot to be thinking about. We'll stay with us. When we come back, we'll continue on this topic.
Everyone is a story. Everyone. He passed away last year. It was hard at first when I found out how sick he was. The doctor suggested hospice care at home. He came home, and that was wonderful. And the hospice helped a great deal. They were there whenever we needed them. They helped me take care of him. I didn't know. I didn't know where to start, what to do, what his needs were going to be. As the illness got worse and worse, they were there with help and suggestions and just how to do it, how to cope with it. They made his last months comfortable, pain-free, which was a blessing. We were able to find some joy till the very end.
Savings Man here with a story for you about two young spenders named Tommy and Sue. Their parents let them buy whatever they chose, like video games and designer clothes. As they grew older, they spent all their pay on fancy cars, houses, 2 lattes a day. They lived in the moment, never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, 'cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
Welcome back from the break. We are going to stay with the topic of healthcare and the Supreme Court's 5-4 decision that says the individual mandate is constitutional based on Congress's power to impose taxes. Brittney, do you think that what do you think this means? Obviously, the healthcare debate is not over. What do you think this means to the ongoing debate?
Okay.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, think about it.
This is such a... okay. I am liberal, Democrat, whatever. I, lean that way. I sway that way. And I feel like this is making it harder for those people who are, let's say, not middle class or, something like that can't afford it. It's just making it harder for them. And it's making it more stressful for them because now, atop of paying for your rent that you might not be able to pay for and your electricity and other things and children and childcare and whatever, now you have to worry about if you don't get health care, which is already expensive, I'm going to have to get a fine or a tax, as they want to call it. And if you get a tax, then you're going to have to pay that, and then you're still going to have to get health care, I'm pretty sure. So what is that going to do to the health care in our country? Is it going to make it, the coverage less...
Quality?
Yeah, the quality, go down? Or is it going to, let the people that want to pay more and have a higher premium, is it going to make it better for them and worse for the people who are just getting minimum coverage that already have it? And being a student, I know that once I graduate, I'm still not going to be able to just jump right in and make $100,000 a year and afford this insurance. Right. It's going to be harder for me to.
Well, and I think
this.
There's provisions in there that will help low-income people, but I don't think any of us know the fine print of what's the cutoff, what's the income, what does that mean for all of us? Robert, where do you sit on this one?
Well, I don't know how long the bill's, like 1,200 and something pages. Like, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was like 2,700.
Whatever.
It's
too long.
Right.
Okay, it's 1,100 pages too long. If it's 1,200 pages, it's too long. So none of us have the time to sit there and sift through all of that. That's not our jobs. I currently don't work. I go to school, and I've still found a way to pay for health insurance. I pay like $90 a month. So for me, I don't really see how, I'm reading as much as I could read. I don't see how this affects me, seeing as I already have health care. And then by the time everything kicks in, I plan on being out of here and being in another country where I get free health care. So I'm not worried about that. But when it comes to this mandate, I don't think, the problem that I see most people have is that they're drawing party lines where it's like, oh, well, this is a liberal thing. No, it's not. Mandate was created or thought up by the Heritage think tank in '89, and 2 Republican congressmen or senators tried to pass laws based on the individual mandate in '90 and '92. They just didn't get it passed because everyone thought it was ridiculous. And so now it's just flipped the coin to the other side, and now it's being passed by, this Democratic president, and so we're freaking out about that. Like, oh my goodness, the Democrat passed it this time. Look, individual mandate, in my opinion, I think isn't really, I don't think it's that big of a deal. The government mandates that the state governments, at least anyway, still mandate that you buy car insurance if you're going to drive a car. So that's something that I have to pay for.
So if you exist, you have to buy health insurance.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I get hurt, okay, I'm going to the emergency room because something's going to happen. I get hurt, I'm going to the emergency room. When I end up in the emergency room, I don't have insurance and I can't afford to pay for it. There's no way I can pay for it. Where did that bill go? It doesn't get thrown to me. It gets sent on to you and you and you and you. It gets sent on to you guys. So how is that
Rachel,
fair?
we've got just a few seconds.
That's the thing. We don't need to have insurance. Insurance is what causes the rates of medical care to be so expensive. If you take the middleman out and you deal directly, it drastically lowers the cost of doing any sort of medical care. I know when my dad was born by C-section, it was like $200 in cash that my grandfather paid. And now to have a baby in a hospital is $20,000 when you see what the insurance pays. So we don't need to force people to buy insurance. We need to get rid of insurance and deal directly.
We're going to have to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to stay with this. We're going to talk about what we think this means for the upcoming election. Please stay with us, and we will be right back.
There comes a time in life when you need government information,
and you just don't know which way to turn.
Well, there's a place you can go to put an end to your frustration.
It's a site that everyone should learn.
USA.gov.
Find your Social Security benefits online.
USA.gov.
Our list of jobs will put you on cloud nine.
USA.gov.
Shop auctions for a used minivan.
The inability to breathe, snot pouring out of your nose, it's a real hairy business. As a firefighter, I'm a student of the weather, and I've noticed that there's a change that's occurred in the last several years. We're having many more large and damaging fires. Sometimes thousands of fires will occur. If the climate changes and we don't have the water we need, California could dry up and blow away.
Savings Man here with a story for you about 2 young spenders named Tommy and Sue. Their parents let them buy whatever they chose, like video games and designer clothes. As they grew older, they spent all their pay on fancy cars, houses, 2 lattes a day. They lived in the moment, never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, 'cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
Welcome back from the break. We're going to stick with the Affordable Care Act and the Supreme Court's ruling that it is constitutional. This is a big deal. There's a lot of partisan debate going on here. What do you guys think this means for the election, the upcoming election? Jenelle, let's start with you.
I think it's going to be a bit of a backlash, but at the same time, a push towards a really tight election. And as I was reading the news, when this decision was laid down, Romney's contributed, I can't even talk today. The amount of people that contribute to his campaign was over $300,000. And now he's even inched towards $1 million by the time we're doing this show. So it shows how much people are really behind this guy.
Ignited.
Yeah, it's really ignited a passion, a change, and a shift in this election when people were really, really pushing towards Obama. I think that Romney is blowing smoke as far as like trying to say he's going to get the whole deal reversed. But I think it's going to be really,
a lot of Americans are upset about the fact that the IRS is going to be the one to enforce our health care. Rachel, go ahead.
Well, I really don't feel like this is a partisan issue. I don't care if a Republican brought this forward or a Democrat brought it forward. This is tyranny. This is too much government in our personal lives. They have control over your body, your finances. These are things that we've said time and time again. We don't want the government in our lives, in our bedroom, in our bodies. So why now are we okay with it? I don't want a nanny state, and the American people need to say no to tyranny. And it really goes to show that it doesn't matter if you put a Republican in the White House or a Democrat, because what we've been putting in lately, I mean, Justice Roberts was put in by a so-called conservative, and he voted for a mandate. These go against conservative principles, and until we get people that are principled in office, we're going to have all this government intervention, and that's a problem.
And Brittney, you said that you're a liberal Democrat. What do you think this means to Barack Obama's re-election campaign? With, you know, as Jenelle said, there could be this backlash. People across the board are agree that they really don't want the government everywhere all the time. The IRS is going to be getting a bunch of new agents to make sure that this is enforced. What do you think that's going to do to the campaign?
Most likely it's going to have a negative sway in his direction. And I mean, why not? Why wouldn't it? I mean, just like Rachel was saying, it is too much government in my life. When did we become, you need to do this, you need to do it, and we have to do it? And no, I don't think that that's what the America was based on. So why are we swaying towards it now in 2012 to try to get this done? I don't like it. People that want to be obese or have problems, that's what they're doing. I mean, why is healthcare so important for everyone? If they were worried about it, they could get a gym membership. Gold's just lowered it down to $10 a month. They're ready. They're trying to help out. So.
Oh, quickly, Robert, we got a little bit of time left. Is this something that you think will help Romney's campaign? Has he come? We all agree healthcare reform is significant. You've got a few seconds. Does Romney have something that can help this?
I think it does nothing for anybody. I think it does absolutely nothing for anybody. No, I think it does absolutely nothing for anybody. It doesn't make anybody's campaign better than the other, because you have Democratic voters who are going to vote for Obama, whatever they say. You have Republican voters who are going to vote for Romney, whatever he says. And you have the small group of independent voters who have to sort through the mess that is Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, the Drudge Report, and all the NPR, all this crap to figure out what exactly they need to know.
Could really be
I don't think this is, I think there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing in this particular one, because once again, this was passed however 2 years ago, and this is something the Supreme Court did.
We're going to have to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been our last episode of our second season of The Scramble. So for Rachel, Robert, Jenelle, and Brittney, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll look for us again next season. Take care.